Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the second week of this Principles of Construction Management course. Let me share my screen first. So, I welcome you all to the second week of this Principle of Construction Management of course. My name is Pranam Mahajan. I am your TA for this course. I belong to Structural Engineering Division from Department of Civil Engineering from IIT Madras. So this opportunity is given to us by NPTEL so that we can take a weekly session in which we will try to solve the problems regarding the modules that you have covered in the current week. So till now, we have covered two modules of these principles of construction management, in which in first week, if we recap what we have done, so in the first week, we started with the introduction to construction management. What is construction management? Why it is to be done, and in what projects it is necessary to involve the construction management, and why it is necessary. Then how the process of construction management works. Then we talked about how the tendering principles work. What are the prerequisite and the post-requisite required during the completion of a tender so that a contractor who is working for a certain project will do the work within a stipulated amount of time that is provided to him. So in this current week, what we will do, we will do the analysis of rates as well as the estimation of quantities. Because after determining the preliminary estimate to get the administrative approval, it is necessary for the technical personals that are involved in that particular section to make the exact calculation of the quantities, items that are involved during the construction of the project. So for that, it is necessary that you should have certain prerequisites available with you. So for the estimation of quantities, the different items of work that are to be involved in the constructions that should be known to the person that is going to carry out that work. Then the amount of work, that is the quantity of the different works that are involved during the construction, that also should be known, and then their corresponding rates. So these rates can be analyzed from the quantities of the materials and the machineries that are involved, and sometimes they can be used from the standards available, like we have DSR available, we have USSOR available, and we have other different agencies have different uh, general documents available from which they can take the previous awarded value and then calculate the price variation that happens till today, and then the rate analysis could be arrived. So the estimation of quantities helps us in to determine the items that are involved in the work, and also helps in the calculation of the quantities of the various items. So as you have seen in the previous week, that we have covered the module 2. So in module 2, what you have seen that in module 2, an example is taken. So the example is with regard to the construction of a wall, boundary wall. So if the construction of boundary wall is required, then what are the components that are involved during the construction of the boundary wall? So from the plan that is arrived to us from the consulting agencies, we will came to know that RC pillars are required. So RC pillars are required. We have boundary walls, so brick masonry walls construction is also required. So in between the masonry walls, we have bed joints. So in bed joints, mortar is also required to be provided. Then to carry out this work, we are also required to make the foundation of these boundary walls. So for regarding to RC column, we have to determine how the isolated footings pertaining to the particular column it would be made. Then similarly for the boundary wall, how the footing looks like. Another components that could be utilized, you can see in the figure, we have channels, or you can say angle sections, which are used to bind the barbed wire that is installed at the top of the boundary wall, so that outsiders would not come inside the structure that is built inside the boundary walls. So this is the plan view of the boundary wall. In this, you can see there is a 230 thick boundary wall that is provided, and in between we have reinforced concrete pillars which are placed at 2.5 meters center to center. So the clear length of the opening, so that a gate can be provided, is provided as 5 meters. So this is an illustrative example that you have covered in the current week, you can say, or the just week you have covered. If you have seen all the videos, you must have seen that how the estimation of quantities related to that is carried out. So these are the side view of the boundary wall that you can see. So wherever you have a masonry wall in between, so this is the sectional view of the masonry wall, wherein you can see that you will be having 230-meter thick wall on which 15 thick plaster is provided in the ratio of 1:6. Then you have bed joints that are also provided with the mortar work in the ratio of 1:3. At top, you can see, so at top you can see this angle section in which four holes are provided. So in these four holes, the barbed wires will move from one section to another, and then it proceeds further. You can see the foundation also. So this foundation, so this is the foundation that is provided. So in this, the bottom layer, you will be having the PCC in the ratio of 1:4:8, and over which you will be having the brick masonry foundation, which is having the offset of first of 25 and then you will be having, 100 offset is provided over the each step. So this is the cross-sectional element of the cross-sectional view of the boundary wall, from which the estimation of quantities will be carried out. Another sectional view that is available for you is the sectional view of the RC pillar and its corresponding foundation, in which you can see that first you will be having the PCC layer of 1:4:8, then over which you will be having the raft foundation of certain thickness, it is 250 Then you will be having the reinforcement that is provided at the bottom of 12 mm at 100 center to center distance in both ways, and it is connected to the column which is provided over the section, and over which you will can see that you will be having the primary bars having 60 dia and the stirrups of 8 dia. Certain length of dowel bars is also provided to them, so that it is having a good contact between the column as well as the footing, and it transfer of load can be done very easily. So these sectional view, plan view will help us to determine the quantities that will be involved to carry out and complete a particular project that is required to be completed. So from this, an experienced civil engineer will came to know the different processes that are involved in carrying out this project. So additional information that are provided to you is that, so for this project in drawing, additional features are also mentioned. So what that is mentioned is that So in this, it is mentioned that excavation is carried out by allowing 200 mm on both sides. So you must see that 200 mm should be provided on both sides of the section. So whenever you are constructing a footing, additional 200 mm is provided so as to provide a pathway for the placing of the TCC to move the mason from one place to another in that particular section, and so that the work should be carried out easily. So whenever you do the excavation work, it's not regarding that whatever specification that is provided to you, you will do the exact same. You will do certain additional things, and then you do the back filling of that, so that the work that is to be precisely done should be done in the efficient manner. So for that, additional cost that is involved for the carrying of the such work is also involved in the item of that work. So in this, it is mentioned that all the concrete work should be M25, and these pillars should also be plastered. Another thing that is provided, that you will be having footings for the pillars of 800 by 800 mm. Clear cover of 40 mm is to be provided, and the original and final ground levels on the both sides of the boundary wall are same. So you will not change the ground level that is provided. Additional mud that you will be that you will be having after the after carrying out the whole project, that should be dumped at a particular place. So the plaster should be done on the both sides of the boundary wall. It depends upon the work to work, that whether the plastering is to be done on the one side or on the both sides. So if it is mentioned, so in this case it is mentioned, so you have to do the plastering on the both sides of the boundary wall, and also 100 below the ground level. So it's not over the the ground level. So 100 below the ground level also the plastering should be done. Angle section that is provided to see the barbed wires, that is also to be to look upon, that in this it is embedded 150 in the RC pillars, and it extends 400 over the top of the pillar. So from this we will came to know the total length of the IS angle that we have utilized is 550 from the place of the uh, installation, and then the barbed wires are placed at 100 center to center. So these additional features will help us to determine the quantities that are related to that particular word, and so that proper estimation of the word should be carried out. So this is the table that you have required to be completed. In this first, you will be having the item, so the work that you will be carrying out, then the number of quantities that you will be carrying out, then you will be measuring the its dimension, length, width, height, and then the total quantity, and then you multiply it with unit rate, and then determine the total cost that is involved to carry out that particular item. So for this particular word, you can see that various items that are involved. So first is excavation. So to make the boundary wall as well as its foundation, you have to first excavate the ground. So first activity that is required to be carried out is excavation. Then is at bottom you are required to provide 100 thick PCC. So the PCC is provided. Then third work is brickwork. You have to make the boundary wall as well as the foundation for the brickwork made up of masonry. So brickwork is third item. Fourth word is concrete word. So for RC pillars that are you are required to be calculated, you are required to be constructed. For that, uh, concrete pillars is another item. So after making the concrete pillars, brickwork is completed. Then you another word comes into picture is plastering work. So plastering work is also required, and during the RCC work that is going to be carrying out, you require shuttering also. Then the at top barbed wire is to provide. So what is the length of the barbed wires in RCC columns? how much reinforcement is carrying provided. So that is we will do bar bending schedule for that. And then at top, the structural angles over which the length of the barbed wires will move from one place to another. So how you will determine the earthwork? So you can see the example. So see one example in which you can see the earthwork is done. So this is the calculation of the previous uh, boundary wall only that is provided to you. So in this you can see the total number are one. Total length is 60 meter. How 60 meter come into picture? You can see that 10 are the width of the section and 20 are the length of the section. So if you calculate the whole perimeter, you will get to know that it is 60 meter. Next is width. So its width comes out to be zero point 0.9 is the total thickness of the foundation that is required to be dig out, and zero point 0.2 is the additional offset that is provided in the additional points. So the total width to be excavated come out to be 1.3. And then the height. So height you can make out by adding the PCC thickness, then the footing thickness, and then the amount of column that is embedded inside the ground level. So total comes out to be 1.2 meters. So that gives you, if you multiply all of them, that gives you the total amount equal to 93.60. However, this is the whole earthwork that is carrying out, but certain deduction should also be made, like you will be installing the gate. So for the gate, 5 meter is provided. So if you made all the calculations, the deduction of 5.577 meter cube is to be done for the earthwork. So your total earthwork comes out to be 87.83. This is how you will do for each and every case. So this we have done. Now we have done the earthwork calculation. Now you will be having the RC pillars. So similarly for RC pillars, how you will be doing that? So you will be having, if you see the drawing, you will be seeing that there are total 23 number of RC pillars. So corresponding, you will be having 23 numbers of RC footings. You will be having the length of 0.23 meter, width of zero point 0.3, and 2.675 of the height of the RC pillar. You can this is the activity that is required to be calculated from the estimator. Then only he will come to know that how much is the total quantity of the work. If by reading I will tell you, you will see that all of these things seems to be boring. So, but in actual calculation, each and every precise thing is required to be done. We will see one example in the later section that how the estimation of quantities to be done. But for this example, you will see that how the estimation is done. You can see here that height is actual height is 1.8, and you will be adding 0.875. So total will be 2.675. Similarly, footings are also calculated. So then another thing comes into picture is PCC. So PCC calculation is also done. Then, however, the PCC calculation is done for the whole length, but you will deduct the opening for the gate. So then the total PCC calculation comes out to be 3.78 meters. Another activity that is required to be calculated is the brickwork. So for the brickwork calculation, first is the bottom footing that is to be required to be provided. So in this, you will be having three offsets. So corresponding to three offsets, how much is the quantity of the brickwork is required is calculated. Then the in the above ground section, you will see that how many how much quantity of brickwork is required, and then you will do the deductions because we have taken the whole length and the whole width. However, at the junction, you will be having the overlaps. So for regarding the overlaps, you have to make certain deductions. And then after making these deductions, your total quantity estimation for the brickwork comes out to be 41.59 meter cube. So after making that, you will be having another category to be completed, that is plastering. So plastering in this case, as it is provided, you have to done in the inside as well as the outside of the section. So we will use lawn wall and the short wall method. So plastering in the lawn wall is done and its calculation is provided to you. Please see the units that are also involved is important. So for earthwork, we have taken the unit to be meter cube. For concrete work, we have taken the units to be meter cube. For brickwork also, it is meter cube. However, for the plastering, since the thickness of the plastering is already provided to you, so then the units that is to be done, it is in meter square. So after doing all the calculation, the plastering quantity comes out to be 210.84 meter square. Then comes the shuttering. So before the concreting of the RC pillar is to be done, shuttering is to be provided. So shuttering is to be done in the pillars as well as in the footings. So 23 numbers of pillars are there. So based upon the pillar perimeter as well as the height, the shuttering calculation is done in meter square and it comes out to be 83.61 meter square. So the total estimate of the that certain project involves the estimation of the quantities as well as the estimation of the rate corresponding to particular quantity that are involved. So these estimation of the quantities is carried out based upon the drawings that is provided to you as per the approved engineer in charge, and then the rates could be estimated using the standard rate as I provide told you to the by the Delhi schedule of rates, CPWD rates or USSOR rates, or using the rate analysis. So how rate analysis to be done? You will take the raw items and then see that how much is the total amount of work that is and total cost of the work that is required for particular item, and then major analysis. So that's largely depend upon the type of specifications that are involved in the work, and then how the work is to be executed. Now, in the BOQ, you are required to provide the description of the items that are required to be performed for a particular quantity. So suppose earthwork is to be done. So you will not say that earthwork of this much quantity is to be performed. So you will say that earthwork using manual diggers or using hydraulic diggers is to be carried out for this much area with certain amount of lead and lift in that particular kind of rock or soil, and then how much with all the finishes, labors, and other miscellaneous things that are involved in the construction. So that is how description is to be provided. So the description of the items in takes into account the cost of the work. So the cost of the work largely depends upon the specifications of the work. So these specifications describe the nature, scope, material, and the execution details that are required to be done. So these descriptions that are to be provided for the particular item, that should be clear and it should be without any conflict. How that means, when the work is to be carried out at a particular site, there should not be any conflict between the client as well as the contractor, that this work that is to be provided, suppose the labor to be provided that particular work, so that pertains to the client or the contractor. So everything should be mentioned so that when the work is to be carried out, no conflict between the two agencies should occur. So generally, the clauses of the description in the BOQ are written in the same order in which the work is to be carried out. That means that suppose you are constructing a boundary wall. So in the BOQ, first of all, earthwork will come into picture. After carrying out earthwork, PCC will come into picture. Then after PCC, then brickwork will come into picture. RCC work will come into picture. Reinforcement specifications will come into picture. Then after that, plastering will come into picture. So the kind of the mortar that you will provide that come into picture. Then afterwards, the description of Indian standard angles will come, and then the cost of the barbed wires that is required to be provided, that is will be provided. So the description will be provided in the sequential manner as the work is to be carried out. So the construction of activities, as I already told you, involves excavation, brickwork, concreting, plastering, reinforcement, and many other things to be done. So how this description to be provided in the BOQ in the tender document. So let's see an example in which it is mentioned that earthwork in excavation, including the dressing of the sites. That means if you are making a section, that should not be like this. That should not be rough. You should make the section to be finished using ramming of bottoms. If water table is there, dewatering will be also be included, providing timber shoring so as the earthwork will not fall from the sides. Okay, and if necessary, with lift up to 2 meter. So this is your lift. So this is your lift up to 2 meter, and including getting out of the excavated soil and disposable of excavated soil as directed up to lead up to 2 meter. So up to 2 kilometer disposal is to be carried out in this description of the earthwork that is provided to you. So in this, everything is covered. Even the cost of the disposal of the work of the earthwork or the mud that is to be done, that is also covered. Whether the you are doing the disposal or not, the cost bearing to that will be provided to you. Another description of work is regarding to brickwork. So see that 115 thick wall with first class bricks with 1.6 1 is to 6 cement mortar in straight, curved in plan, in walls at all levels, including curing, scaffolding, as directed by in. So it includes everything: the quality of bricks, the kind of mortar that is to be provided, and the thickness of the wall to be constructed. Okay, so this is how description of the work is provided in the particular BOQ of the quantities. So as I already told you, estimation involves quantities as well as the rates of the work that is to be done. So, however, this thing varies from item to item. So suppose you are interested in flooring. So flooring could be either cement and concrete flooring. It could be Tota stone flooring. It could be marble stone flooring. So depending upon the type of the flooring provided in the description, cost of the item will change, and its impact on the total cost of the project will also be changed. So suppose it is provided to you that cement concrete flooring is to be done with finished flooring coat, including cement slurry, excluding the cost of the nosing, and 40 thick with 20 nominal size stone aggregate is to be provided. So for that, you will be having the total cost to be 362.60, and you have a carpet area of 140. So that accumulates the total cost to 50,764. However, when you will be doing the work with Tota stone, or if you see here Italian marble, the cost differs. So in Tota stone, if you see, the cost is 1156.10, whereas in marble stone it is 5006.10. So compared to Tota stone, it is almost 5 times the cost. So if you compare the per unit cost, so for cement concrete flooring, it is 362. Tota flooring, it is 1158. And for marble, it is 5006. And it accumulates to different percentage of cost depending upon the per unit cost of the structures. So as you can see that the Tota stone increases the total cost of the project by 3.7%. And however, the marble stone increases the total cost by 27%. 21.67%. So rate analysis helps us to determine rate per unit of a particular item of the work, like earthwork, brickwork, concreting, from the individual cost that will be accumulated based upon the materials, labors, as well as the miscellaneous things that are involved for the completion of that particular item. So the rate of an item depends upon the type of the specification of the material. So it depends upon the type of the specifications. Then it depends upon the proportion of the material that is to be required. Then amount of labor that is required to do that particular work. Construction operations, that is mixing, bending, placing, excavating, then that should also be included. And finally, another thing that comes into picture is the profit. So profit should also be there for a particular item, which will be helpful for the contractor to do the particular work. So this work should also include material, labor, tools and equipments, water charges and overhead expenses. So thus the items of the rates of the items for other items involved can be worked out based upon the specifications. So specifications is the most important thing, so that the rates of the particular item could be carried out. So suppose if you are doing a PCC work in which you are not provided with the specification, then how you will determine the rate that is required to be calculated? Suppose uh, the contractor client has provided the rate based upon the 1 is to 3 is to 4. Wherever the contractor thinks that the rate is for 1 is to 1.5 is to 3. So when it comes to site, there would be contradiction between the two, that we will place what kind of the PCC in that particular area. So these things should be avoided. So this is what you will have covered in this particular week regarding the estimation of the quantities as well as the rates. So now let's have some examples to be done, so that you will be having the clarity of the information regarding what you have covered in this current module. So let's get started. So in this question, it is mentioned that the interior dimensions of a rectangular room are 5 meter to 4 meter. So let's make an diagram. So this is the interior of the room. Then it is mentioned that the exterior of the room is also there. Let me remove this. So it is mentioned that you will be having the thickness and the height of the walls of the room to be 25 centimeter and 3 meter. So I will make another box that will show you. Okay. So this is your internal dimensions. So if I mark them, that will be 5 meter. This will be your 4 meter. And this is 25 centimeter. Okay. And total height is 3 meter. So in this, you are required to determine how much amount of plastering should be done, excluding this area of 5 meter square for doors and windows. Okay. So internal dimensions of the so internal surface area, we will now calculate. That will come out to be, so first we will be calculating the perimeter. 2 into 5 into 5 plus 4 multiply by 3. 3 is the height. That comes out to be 9 to 18. 18 3 is a 54. So 54 meter square meter is your internal surface area. Now talking about external surface area, so your external surface area will include the thickness of the wall also, that will be 5.25. It will not be 5.25. It will be 5.5 plus 4.5 multiply by 2 into 3, because you will be having two walls of 5.5 and two walls of 4.5, and then you will multiply by height. What you will get? You will get the total surface area equal to 114 meters square. Now the area to be deducted for doors and windows amounts to 2 into 5 meters square, that will be equal to 10 meters square. Okay, so the total area for the plastering will come out to be, so your total area will be equal to 54 plus 114 minus 10, that will be equal to 54 plus 114 minus 10, that amounts to 158 meters square. Okay, so this is how you are required to carry out the calculation of the quantities. So this is the basic example in which you are expected to calculate the plastering of the walls. So if the
Excuse me,
plastering
sir.
of, yeah, tell me.
Actually, sir, external surface area answer is like 60 meter square, no? It's
One second.
yeah. Please check it.
Yes, yes, it's 60 meters square. Thank you.
Always welcome, sir.
So this is 60. So your it is 114 minus 10. That comes out to be 104 meters square. So now next question is, you are required to calculate what is mentioned in the question. It is construction of five slabs involves use of 90 cubic meter of the concrete. So 90 cubic meter of the concrete is to be done for 7.2 metric ton of the reinforcement and 100 meter square of the shuttering. So a tender is to be submitted with the rates of the reinforcement and the shuttering to be included in the rate of the concrete. So what should be the rate of the concrete work if the rates for the concrete reinforcement and the shuttering are provided to you as 5,000, 12,000, and 900 respectively. So in this case, quantities are already provided to you, rates are already provided to you. You have to find the total estimated cost of the work. So that what it will be. So your total estimated cost, it will include concreting cost plus reinforcement cost plus shuttering cost. So that amounts to, you have quantity equal to 900, and if you multiply it by corresponding rate equal to 5,000, plus for now for reinforcement it is 7.2, and you have per metric ton rate to be 12,000, and plus 800 for the shuttering multiplied by corresponding rate. So now in this case you will get the value as 45, this amounts to,
So that is 90 m cube put 900.
right.
So that is
Sorry. Oh yeah, yeah.
It's 90 cubic meter.
yes, 90 cubic meters. 900.
So it comes out to be, so this much is the cost for total. That is, what you can say, total concrete consumption. So this is the cost for 90 cubic meter of concrete. However, if someone asks you that what will be the rate, so the rate to be quoted, so that rate should not be quoted for the 90 cubic meter. So you will be required for the per meter cube. So the total, so rate for the, so rate for concreting work will be 1256400 divided by 90, and it amounts to 13,960. So this is how rate calculation is done in this case. Now we will do a one bit problem. So in this you will be having a RC frame structure. So let me read this question first. So in this it is mentioned that consider the following details for the construction of foundation of an RC framed structure. So for that you will be having one raft foundation which is having 500 thickness, measuring 10 by 10 meters. Then below the raft foundation, you will be having, so what is mentioned that the bottom of the raft foundation is at a reduced level of 97 meter with a surrounding ground being taken as 100 meters. So this will give you the total depth of the footing, that will be 3 meters. However, PCC will also comes into picture below the raft foundation. We will see in the coming points. So third point is that 8 square columns of 500 side rising from the raft going going to the top of the building with the top of the column being reduced level of 105 meter. So above the ground level, you will be having the square columns of 5 meters. Now in this square columns, reinforcement is to be provided. So first is for the raft. So in the raft, reinforcement is to be provided as 20 bars of with 150 center to center distance in both ways, both at the top at the as well as the bottom, with clear cover of 50 on both sides or everywhere. Fifth, you will be having reinforcement for each column also, that amounts to 10 bars of 20 dia and the transverse lengths of 8 dia at 150 center to center. Now the longitudinal, all the longitudinal bars in the columns extends into the raft by 500 like a double action. So these are for double action, and specific gravity for the steel bars to be taken as 7.8. Then the excavation will be carried out with a vertical cut of 10.8 to 10.8 meter, so as to allow some space for the some working space at the bottom of the raft. Next is column bars must project at least 2.5 meter from the top of the raft. So it must project 2.5 meter, but we are taken it as around 5 meters, so that point will be already covered to facilitate the reinforcement of the bars for further lift. Then the raft is to be cast with M20 concrete, wherever column is to be cast with M30 concrete. Then PCC is to be laid below the RCC footing for the entire area of the section, and the rate of the rates that are to be considered for excavation. It is mentioned to be 250 rupees. For PCC 1500. For RCC it is 5000. For reinforcement it is provided as 8500, and for shuttering 900 rupees. So now you are required to calculate what is mentioned in the coming portion. So this I have made a journal overview of the drawing that is to be required to be calculated. So you can see that at the top, at the bottom, you can see this is the PCC layer that is to be provided of 100 thick, over which raft foundation is to be done. So this is your raft, and then column will come into picture. So this is how you are required to make, and then you may make the further dimensions. So this 97 and 100 will give you the total thickness of 3 meter plus 100 mm. So your total depth of the footing is 3.1 meter. Then it will give you that the total height of the column will be 5 meter. The rest, the internal details regarding the reinforcement is provided to you. So this is this is M30 concrete. I think it is M30. Your column is M30, and your raft is M20. These bars at the bottom that are provided for the dowel action, it should extends up to 500 mm. So these dowel actions will be for 500 mm. Okay. So based upon the type of the information to be provided and what calculation is asked to you, you have to do that particular thing. So for the first thing, it is mentioned that what is the amount of the surplus earth that will be generated and will be required to be disposed of. So the earthwork to be disposed will include the part of the picture that is coming into the section. That means this part, this part, and this PCC part. Okay. So this much amount only is the surplus that is embedded inside the soil after excavation is done. So let me remove this first. That's what I have done. So this is what we are required to calculate for the estimation of the earthquake quantity. So for this, your depth of total depth of excavation will be equal to ground level minus raft bottom level, okay, plus it will include the PCC thickness. So how much it amounts? It amounts 100 minus 97, okay, PCC thickness of zero point 0.1. So your total depth of foundation comes out to be 3.1 meter. Now your dimensions of the raft will be 10 meter by 10 meter by 5 meter. Okay. If you can see from the figure, this is your raft. It is 10 meter up to this and this point, and it extends up to another direction of 10 meter, and its total height is 5 meter. Okay. So not 5 meter, it's 0.5 meter because it is 500 mm. No? This is 500 mm. So it is 0.5. So 10 into 10 into 0.5 meter. Now talking about the PCC dimensions. So your PCC dimensions comes out to be 10.8 into 10.8 into zero point 0.1 meter. So next is height of this column below the ground level, and that will be equal to 100 minus 97.5, and it will be equal to 2.5 meter. Okay. So for the columns, so number of columns that is to be provided is 8, and you have total height of the column including the ground level height also, that will be 105 minus 97.5. That is just a subtraction of the RLs that are mentioned in the figure. That will be equal to 7.5 meter. Now, how will we calculate in the surplus earth or the surplus earth that is required to be disposed? So, surplus earth to be disposed will include volume of PCC plus volume of raft plus volume of column below ground level, and that will be equal to, for PCC we have calculated it as 10.8 into 10.8 into 0.1. For raft it is 100 into 100 into zero point 0.5, sorry, 10 into 10, 10 into 10 into zero point 0.5, plus for column it is total, we have 8 number of columns, 8 into zero point 0.5 into zero point 0.5 will be the dimension, and its total height is, which is below the ground level, it is 2.5 meter. And if we calculate this, it will come out to be 10, it will amounts to 66.67 meter cube. Okay, this is how you will calculate the surplus earth required to be disposed. So now what is the next question? So the next question tells you, what is the minimum amount of reinforcement in metric tons that is needed to be procured for casting the reinforcement, for casting of raft. So in raft, you can see that it is mentioned that the reinforcement to be provided in the raft is 20 bars with 150 center to center both ways, and 50 cover is to be provided. So we will calculate the reinforcement for this for the raft. How we will do that? So in this, we are provided with the 20 bar. So your weight of 20 bar per unit length, it will be equal to, so weight will be equal to density into volume. Okay, into area, because per unit width we are considering area of cross section. Now density is provided to you as 7.8 into 1000. If you multiply by the cross section area of the bar, that will be equal to pi by 4 into 20 square, and Since these are in mm and these we will make it to be in kg. So that amounts to 2.45 kg. So for per unit length, your weight of the bar comes out to be 2.45 kg. So now you are expected to calculate the total length of the bar that is required to be provided in the raft foundation. So what that will be? So in raft, clear cover is 50 mm, and if you assume the approximate length of the bar, so approximate length of the bar to be 10 meter, because 50 mm cover is provided, that is negligible, we can ignore that. So the total number of bars that to be provided will be equal to 10,000, because it is mentioned here that it is 10 meter. So 10 meter minus 50 cover we have done, divided by the center to center distance, that is 150, plus 1, that will give you the total number of bar in one side. However, on both sides, the reinforcement is to be provided, as well as at the top as well as the bottom, the reinforcement should be provided. So for that, we will multiply it by 4. So your total number of bars will come out to be 268. Okay. So the reinforcement in draft, so we are not expected to be provided in numbers. We are expected in metric tons. So your total will be 268. These are the number of the bars. And for each bar, the length is 10 meter. And your per meter weight is 2.45 kg per meter. And that give you the total weight amounting to 6.566 tons. Okay. So this is how you will be calculating the reinforcement to be provided in raft foundation. Now, what is the next question? So next question is the total amount of the shuttering that is required to be done in columns as well as in the raft. Okay. So how you will be doing that? You will be calculating the perimeter of the column multiply by the height. Okay. Another thing that we have missed here, that in raft there is L-shaped double bars are also provided. So for double bars also we have to do the calculations. So for double bars, length of each bar will be 2.5 plus zero point 0.5, amounting to 3 meter. And then total number of bars will be equal to, so for each column 10 numbers of bars are provided and you are having total 8 number of columns, so your total number of bars will be equal to 80. So the steel to be provided for doubles, that will be equal to 2.45 multiply by 80 multiply by 3, and that gives you the total value amounting to 0.588 tons. And if you calculate the total steel required, so your total steel required will be equal to 6.566 plus 0.588 equal to 7 ton approximately.
For length also you need to calculate for this.
Sorry.
Length and stirrups per column.
No, we are calculating for the only for the raft foundation, not for the columns. So in raft,
Okay.
there is no stirrups will come into picture. For the column calculation, stirrups will come. Okay. Okay. Thank you. So next is what is the amount of the shuttering that is required to be provided in columns and the raft. So the shuttering that is
Excuse me, sir.
required to be
In case
yeah. Sorry.
if the mat is double mat, then some chairs required, no, sir?
So we are now so chairs are required, but we are ignoring the calculation for the chairs because that is not provided into you the information. Because if chairs are there, so that information should be given in the structure. So we are only considering the those things that are provided to the information that is in the points. Additional things we will not
Okay.
take into consideration now. Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir.
So next is the amount of shuttering. So how we will take the shuttering calculations. So shuttering quantity. So the quantity of shuttering will be equal to for raft shuttering plus column shuttering. Okay. Now for raft, it would be 10 is the dimension. So 10 into 4, and it's having the thickness of 0.5 to multiply by 0.5. Whereas for the columns, we have total 8 number of columns multiply by zero point 0.5 into 4, which will be the perimeter of the column, multiply by the height of the column. So that will be uh, total is 4 meter. 4 meter. Okay, 4 meter. That amounts to your 148 meters square. Next is you are required to calculate. So in this question, if the unit cement consumption in PCC M20 M30 concrete is 100 kg, 375 kg, and 350 kg respectively, what is the total cement consumption in the concrete work? Okay, so now you are required to calculate the cement consumption. So that's only you have to calculate the volume and then multiply it by corresponding cement that is required to be calculated. So for total cement that is required, that will be equal to first is for PCC. For PCC, cement required will be equal to 100 kg is given to you, multiply by the total volume. So that volume will be equal to 10.8 into 10.8 into zero point 0.1. For M20 concrete, cement required will be equal to 375 into, so this will be for the raft. So raft dimensions are 10 into 10 into 0.5. And for M30 concrete, your cement required is 350 multiplied by the column dimensions. So you are having the column dimensions. First is the total number of columns, that are 8, multiply by zero point 0.5 to zero point 0.5 into 7.5. That will be equal to, we'll see, for each quantity that will be equal to 0.5, 0.5, 7.5 into 8 into 350. This is 5250 kg. In this case, it is 18750 kg. In this case, it is 1166.4 kg. If we add them all, so your total cement required will be cumulative of all 1166.4 plus 18750 plus 5250. Okay, that gives you the total value equal to 25166.4 kg, or if you will write in tons, that will be equal to 25 tons. Okay, so this is how you will calculate the total cement required for the concreting work. Now next is, what is the gross amount payable at the end of the casting of the raft. Okay, so in this case, we are calculating only for the raft. So for the raft, what are the things to be included? One is excavation, then PCC, then shuttering, then steel and concreting. So then let's do this. So in this first item is excavation. So the total quantity of excavation will be 10.8 into 10.8 into total depth of footing is 3.1. Okay, so that is equal to 361.6 meter cube. Okay, next quantity that you will take into account is PCC. PCC is 10.8 into 10.8 into 0.1, and that we have already seen it, that is equal to 11.664 meter cube. Third thing that comes into picture is shuttering work. Shuttering work is 4 into zero point 0.5 into 10, that is the total length of the column. That will be 20, and this will be in meter square. Next is the steel to be provided in raft. So the raft steel, and we have calculated previously it to be total 7 metric ton. And finally, we will be having the concreting. So your concreting we will calculate as 10 into 10 into zero point 0.5, that is the thickness of the raft, and it will amount to 50 meter cube. If we take the unit rate of the items that is involved, so that this is unit rate in INR. Okay, so that is For estimation, it is mentioned 250. You can cross check them later. For PCC, it is 1500. For shuttering, it is 900. For steel, it is 8500. And for concreting, it is 5000. So for each item, your total rate or total cost comes out to be, for excavation, it is 90,400. For PCC, it is 17,496. For shuttering, it is 18,000. Then you are having steel. For steel, it comes out to be 59,500. Then we are having concreting. For concreting, it is 2,50,000. Okay. If you do the total in rupees, so this will give you the total amount that is required for the raft work, and that is equal to 4,35,396. This is how you are required to calculate or do the estimation of the quantity as well as the rate analysis, and then determine the total cost involved in the construction of a particular activity or the total amount of the project that is required to be completed. So this ends our second week, in which what we have seen, we started with the estimation of the quantities. We have seen how the quantities should be arrived. So for that, you must know the process that are involved, that are required for the construction purpose. So for construction purpose, we should know that first the excavation should be done, then PCC should be laid, then footing should be installed, and then concreting work and brick work should done simultaneously. And then if you are required some protection work or miscellaneous work to be done, that should be also done. And how their cost estimations should be done based upon the quantities of the work involved in that particular work, how it is to be analyzed. And then if you are taking from some particular schedules that are provided like DSR, USSOR, or CPWD reference books. So from that also you can take directly the rate and then multiply with the total quantity that are involved in your project, and then you can calculate the estimated amount of the work that is required to be calculated. So this will give you the total amount of the work to be required to be calculated for a particular project. However, suppose in case of the boundary wall, if you have made the total amount of the boundary wall calculation to be done for the 10 kilometers, so you can know that per kilometer how much is the rate. So in future, if you are required to make some preliminary estimate, you can use that you can use that figure for your preliminary estimate, so that you can get your administrative approval. And after getting administrative approval, if you are required to make the detailed estimate, then you have to do the quantity analysis, rate analysis, and then derive the total exact amount of the project that is required to be carried out for a particular work. So if anyone has any questions, you may ask. Anyone has any questions? If you don't have, then we will wrap up this class.
सर
Yes.
वो जैसे अगर हम बोलते हैं कि M16 है या फिर M20 है,
Mm-hmm.
और जैसे आता है कि what is the quantity of cement concrete, so M16 की जगह वो 1:6:18 दे देता है, तो सेम प्रोसेस अप्लाई कर सकते हैं.
फिर से रिपीट करो, क्या बोला आपने?
सर जैसे 1:6:18 दे दिया, फिर 1:2:4, ये जो M मतलब स्पेसिफिकेशन होता है M का मिक्स डिजाइन में,
हाँ,
तो
मिक्स
उसी
वन इज
हिसाब
टू
से मतलब हम
सिक्स
लोग को
टू
देखना
18 तो
होता
अभी
है
तक
कि
किसी का है नहीं ना। 1:6 to 18 तो बहुत लाइट माइल्ड, ये तो मैंने कभी सुबह 1:6 to 18 तो किसी का है भी नहीं। सपोज 1:2:4 ले लेते हैं, चलो 1:2:4 ले लेते हैं आगे।
तो मतलब वो अगर दिया रहेगा कि हाँ एक पिलर या फिर ब्रिक में हम लोग ऐसा दे रहे हैं लोग, तो उसके हिसाब से हम लोग को क्वांटिटी निकालना पड़ेगा।
हाँ, जब आपको अगर
तो
नहीं
उसमें क्या
प्रोवाइड,
मतलब
जब आपको नहीं प्रोवाइड किया होगा 1:2:4 उसके केस में, तब आप क्या करोगे? तब आप उसका रेशियोज कैलकुलेट करोगे, जब देन उसको मल्टीप्लाई करोगे, क्योंकि जो आपने क्वांटिटी होगा वो आपका वेट कंक्रीट का क्वांटिटी है। सो आपको उसको ड्राई कंक्रीट का क्वांटिटी निकालने के लिए आपको उसको 1.54 से मल्टीप्लाई करना पड़ेगा, जो आपको उस पर्टिकुलर क्वांटिटी ऑफ सीमेंट, या आप तो क्या बोलते हैं, मोटार, सॉरी सीमेंट, सैंड और एग्रीगेट जो निकालना है उसके लिए हेल्प करेगा। सो फॉर कंक्रीटिंग वर्क आप 1.54 का फैक्टर जो होता है उसको मल्टीप्लाई करते हो उसकी कॉरस्पॉन्डिंग रेशियोज के साथ। ओके।
यस सर। और सर ये जैसे क्वेश्चन है कि एक्सकेवेशन का कितना क्वांटिटी होना चाहिए, तो मतलब हम लोग डायरेक्ट उसमें कितने हाइट तक का ब्रिक गया सिर्फ ये देख लेंगे तो काम हो जाएगा सर। जैसे अभी आप यहाँ पे निकाले ना एक्सकेवेशन, तो डायरेक्टली 10.8 इंटू 10.8 इंटू
10.8 निकाला
उसको
तो
मतलब उसको डायरेक्टली कर सकते हैं। जैसे 10.8 पीसीसी था ना वहाँ पे लास्ट में,
हाँ, ठीक है
10.8
ठीक है।
इंटू 10.8 इंटू उसके हाइट को मल्टीप्लाई कर दिए, तो
हाँ हाँ।
डायरेक्टली एक्सकेवेशन की हम उतना ही एक्सकेवेट कर रहे हैं, या फिर प्लान के हिसाब से चलना होगा कि इतना बड़ा प्लान है तो सबको मतलब एक ये तो एक
नहीं,
ब्रिक का हो गया, फिर टोटल प्लान का पेरीमीटर निकालना।
ये तो मैंने एक्चुअली क्वेश्चन लिया, तो क्वेश्चन एक तरह से जो आपको दिया है वो एक तरह से एक्चुअली प्लान व्यू ही है। सो आपको प्लान व्यू में अगर मेंशन है आपको 10.8 मीटर एस्टिमेट करना है, तो आप 10.8 मीटर ही करोगे ना। अगर आप ज्यादा एडिशनल करोगे तो आपके लिए एडिशनल कॉस्ट है, तो वो आपको ही बेयर करना पड़ेगा, वो आपको क्लाइंट पे नहीं करेगा उस कॉस्ट के लिए। ऊपर
जी
से
सर।
आपको बैकफिल भी करना पड़ेगा, जब वो आप अगर आपने सपोज एडिशनल एस्टिमेट कर दिया, आप तो अगर क्लाइंट चेक करने आएगा वो आपको बोलेगा कि दैट it is not backfilled, so he will check the calculations of the quantities, and also and then he will tell you that no, their calculation is not right, so आप तो बोलेगा वो कि हाँ आप तो इस पोर्शन पे बैक फिलिंग करना पड़ेगा, सो आपके लिए ही लॉस है।
यस सर।
Sir, could you please explain how to calculate the number of bricks, like burnt brick quantities?
For what?
Brick for the brick work, sir.
So for the brickworks, there is a means if you will proceed further, you will see that for the brickwork you will take into account the how much estimates, how, so you are interested in the brick total number of brick calculations or the brick mortar work.
No, sir, total number of bricks is required. If you consider a 10 meter, like a 10 feet height and by an 10 feet length.
Yeah.
So what
So
will
total
be the number of bricks?
number of bricks that you will see in the coming weeks, that you for if you carry out the rate analysis, that is only the rate analysis purpose.
Yes,
So
sir.
that is so that is not in this scope. So however, if you are required to be calculated, there are many, if you google them, many templates are nowadays available from this. If you make the provide them the particular length and the height, they will give you the total number of bricks that is to required to be provided for a particular kind of a section.
Yes, sir. Noted, sir.
सर ये सरप्लस ऐप का जो आइटम है इसमें क्या इंक्लूडिंग एक्सवर्क में रहता है कि नहीं सेपरेट रहता है सर?
किसमें किसमें
आपने बताया जो एक्सप्रेशन का जो आइटम है ना सर,
आप रिपीट करें।
एक्सवर्क एक्सप्रेशन,
अर्थवर्क में
एक्सवर्क एक्सप्रेशन का जो आइटम हमने अमाउंट डाला था वो जो रेट है वो इंक्लूडिंग सरप्लस एप्ट है उसके अंदर है, नहीं तो क्या उसको सेपरेट आइटम लेना पड़ेगा सरप्लस एप्ट?
नहीं, उसमें इंक्लूडिंग सरप्लस अर्थ है ना अभी, उसमें उसका डिस्पोज ऑफ जो अभी अभी हमने क्वेश्चन किया उसमें उसका डिस्पोजल इंक्लूडेड है।
अच्छा
क्योंकि मोस्टली जब भी
नहीं
आप तो
वो सर, हाँ
मोस्टली जब भी आपको अगर आइटम प्रोवाइड किया होगा बीओक्यू में, तो उसमें आपको 2 किलोमीटर लीड और 3 किलोमीटर लीड वो इंक्लूड करके ही आपको रेट देगा। सो आपको जो सरप्लस अमाउंट होगा उसको जो उसका डिस्पोज ऑफ करने का रेट होगा वो ऑलरेडी इंक्लूड करना पड़ेगा।
ओके ओके। नेक्स्ट ये जो सर एर्थवर्क एक्सप्रेशन का जो हमारा लेआउट जो भी दिया है, जो भी एक्सो जाए वो उसके एडिशनली जो 1 मीटर अबव जाएगा तो हमने 0.3 लेने का, 1.5 अबव गए तो एक्स्ट्रा जो एक्सप्रेशन करना है 0.6 लेना है। ये कहाँ पे मिलते हैं सर ये जो
अगर आप
एक्स्ट्रा?
हाँ, जो एक्स्ट्रा जो आप करोगे ना उसमें क्या होता है, अगर आप तो बीओ अगर आप किसी टेंडर का बीओक्यू देखोगे और अगर आप शेड्यूल ऑफ रेट्स जो स्टैंडर्ड शेड्यूल ऑफ रेट्स जो अवेलेबल हैं अगर आप चेक करोगे उसमें लिखा होता है कि अगर आपका जो लिफ्ट है अगर वो 2 से 2.5 मीटर्स का है तो आपको सर्टेन अमाउंट सपोज 200 मीटर्स पर क्यूबिक मीटर ऑफ द एस्टिमेशन विल बी प्रोवाइडेड। अगर आपका लिफ्ट बढ़ता जाता है 3 मीटर 3.5 मीटर होता है सो आपका रेट भी उस हिसाब से चेंज होता रहता है एंड वो रेट भी बढ़ता रहता है।
नहीं मेरे क्वेश्चन इज जो हमने ग्राउंड लेवल से जो डिच करते हैं सर, जो भी फुटिंग है जो आपने बताया, सपोज फॉर एग्जांपल 1.5 फ्रॉम ग्राउंड लेवल से जो डाउन द स्ट्रीम गएगा 1.5 मीटर, तो इसका जो हमारा फुटिंग का साइज है 5 मीटर बाय 5 मीटर फॉर एग्जांपल, तो
ठीक है।
हमने एडिशनली कितना करना है अभी 3 अगर 1.5 मीटर अबव गए तो?
हाँ हाँ, वो जब अगर आप पिछला अगर आपने अगर मॉड्यूल देखा होगा पिछला उसमें उसमें मेंशन था सपोज अगर हम बाउंड्री वॉल कैलकुलेशंस कर रहे हैं तो अगर आप उसमें अगर आप एस्टिमेशन सपोज करना है आपको, ठीक है, उसमें अगर आपको जो एडिशनल एस्टिमेशन करना है वो 200 mm का करना है फ्रॉम ईच साइड। सो उसका अमाउंट वो भी आपको प्रोवाइड कर दिया जाएगा।
अच्छा ये 200 mm अप टू 1 मीटर,
200 mm एडिशनल टू योर डायमेंशन। सपोज आपका डायमेंशन 1.2
एडिशनल अप टू 1 मीटर डेप्थ, अप टू 1 मीटर डेप्थ और अप टू 2 मीटर 3 मीटर?
वो डिपेंड करता है ना आप तो बीओक्यू में क्या प्रोवाइड किया है वो हर साइड टू साइड डिफर करेगा। वो मैं आपको जर्नल अगर ऐसे बता दूंगा वो नहीं हो सकता। आप अगर शेड्यूल ऑफ रेट्स चेक करेंगे उसमें आपको प्रोवाइडेड होगा कि अगर डेप्थ आपकी बढ़ती जाएगी तो उसमें जो आपका जो एडिशनल जो कॉस्ट होगा वो उस कॉस्टिंग कैसे इन्वॉल्व है वो इंक्लूडेड होगा।
अच्छा अच्छा ठीक है, ओके सर, थैंक यू।
हेलो सर, गुड आफ्टरनून। एक्चुअली मेरे को लास्ट सम में एक डाउट था जो प्रीवियस लेक्चर में किया था। उसमें आई से कैलकुलेट किया था, आई से 100, एक्चुअली वो आई से 100/100/8 mm का था। उसका आंसर जो सर ने वीडियो में बताया वो 187 पॉइंट कुछ तो आया था और मेरा आंसर सर 153 आ रहा है। वो कैसे?
ठीक है, वो अगर आपने अगर डिस्कशन फोरम पे अगर आप उसका क्वेरी रेज कर दो, अगर मैं अभी चेक करके फिर उसका रिप्लाई कर दूंगा। ठीक है,
ओके ठीक है सर।
ठीक है, ओके।
Pranav ji, this session is scheduled for every Sunday, 4 to 6 o'clock.
Right. Yeah, this is scheduled every Sunday for 4 to 6.
Okay, I missed this session. So, is it available for recorded session?
Yeah, you will get one YouTube link in which the recorded session will be provided to you.
On email ID, on email address.
Yeah, the announcement you will be getting from the NPTEL session. If you check them on regular intervals, they will give you that the recorded lecture of the doubt solved session. So for that, an Excel sheet link will be provided in which every week the lecture YouTube link is provided to you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So now I think we have to end this class. If anyone having any other doubt, they may post in discussion forum that is provided to you in Swayam app, and you can post them, and the TS will respond to your queries as soon as they receive them. Okay. So, so hope you have enjoyed this session. So let's meet on next Sunday and enjoy your weekend. Have a nice day.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.